On today's History of Politics, we're going to talk about another one of the lesser known amendments, the Seventh Amendment. The Seventh Amendment, similarly to the Sixth Amendment, applies to federal civil trials. Okay, when we talk about civil, we're talking about not crimes that are not criminal crimes. Okay, we're not talking about really a crime per se at all. Whereas in a criminal proceeding in the federal courts, you had to have done something against the United States, and in turn, the United States prosecutes you, like the Department of Justice and the Attorney General for the United States, or one of his or her deputies. Um, such kind of charges could be armed bank robbery. Why? Because banks are federally covered under FDIC. They also come under the Treasury Department, so that makes it a federal crime if you perform a robbery on a bank. Additionally, air piracy, treason, sedition, all of these are federal charges, and they would be heard in a federal court because the federal courts not only have physical jurisdiction, but they also have subject matter jurisdiction. With that being said, the Sixth Amendment covers you on felony charges, which are criminal charges. The Seventh Amendment deals with civil charges, whereas the government did something that I feel they shouldn't have done, and I sue them civilly. Just like as if on a state level, if you're in a car accident and somebody gets hurt and you sue the other driver, that's a civil case. If a corporate landlord doesn't fix things in your apartment, then you would take him to court and sue him, and that's a civil case. They're the same in federal courts. And here's what the Sixth Amendment says. First of all, it guarantees you the right in common law federal trials, civil trials, to be heard by a jury. You can have the option, and in most of the cases, you have the option to be heard by a jury. Sometimes it's limited to where it has to be what's called a bench trial, where only the judge hears it. But in certain cases, a jury can hear it. They also have to be cases where the dollar value is over $20. Well, that's pretty much ancient because $20 back then was like $2,000 today. So that's kind of ancient, but that's what the law says, so we got to stick with it. The second protection of the Seventh Amendment is that once the jury makes a decision based in fact, the court cannot overturn that decision. Now, in the state courts, I have seen situations where an individual went to court, sued somebody, the jury agreed, and their verdict was they found that the other party was liable, and the judge overturned the jury's verdict. Does that sound fair? No, it's not fair to the juries, but the only time that that's supposed to be done is if procedure is not followed. If there was some kind of a mishap in the court rules or something like that. Another good example right now is the Trump case that Trump is appealing in the state of New York. This was a civil case because it was the business of the jury trial, and Trump lost, and he's trying to appeal that loss. The thing about it is, if the judge found anything structurally wrong with the arguments, then he could have overturned the jury verdict, but he didn't. In federal courts, you are guaranteed that a judge cannot overturn a jury's verdict. They have the final say. And that's pretty much what the Seventh Amendment is talking about. It's also based in English common law, by the way. So that's what it is. Hit like, subscribe, And we'll be back with more History of Politics.